Cartridge Pros of Deer Park. We were established in 2011. Some of our inventory, just really a drop in the bucket of what we carry. These are just popular brands. Alright, I'm going to show you how to remanufacture a common HP cartridge. It's a desktop printer. That's the printer. Small little unit, excellent to have on your desk if you don't want to get up and go to a main printer. And I'll show you the parts after. That's the toner station where it happens. And I'll show you step by step in which parts get replaced and how it's done. So before I get into the remanufacturing of that cartridge, I just wanted to show the other end of our business. We're environmentally conscious. This is just a bunch of empty laser toner cartridges here that it's only about 3-4 days. We recycle every Friday. We have UPS pick up several boxes, and it's probably about 100 pounds a week of plastic, and so I guess times 52 weeks, about 5,000 pounds. So we do our part in recycling. We keep what we could use to recycle, but we don't to remanufacture, but we don't use everything. Some of the cartridges are just not up to speed to remanufacture. But that's the other end of our business. We're an environmentally friendly business. What you're seeing now are all the empty cores that we can use to remanufacture into new cartridges. So this is the parts that get replaced in a properly remanufactured OEM original cartridge. This is original HP 85A for this printer. So from left to right, that's a drum unit. This is a mag roller, short for magnetic roller. It holds the toner. That's a seal, the orange tab that holds the toner in before you're ready to use it. Next part is a PCR, that stands for primary charge roller. And then there's two blades, similar to what you're going to see like on a squeegee to clean windows. This is a wiper blade. It does just that. After a print, it wipes the drum, the first piece, clean, getting it ready for the next print. And this is they call it a doctor blade. This distributes the toner evenly off the primary charge roller, which is this one. And there's a lot going on when you hit that print button, but you do it properly, the magic does happen. You get nice clean prints. Okay, next I'll show you the process. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the actual procedure. I always wear gloves because toner is a mess. You could probably see around here. I'll show you after. The floor's half black. Yeah, it's a real fine talcum powder kind of substance. Actually, what it is it's plastics with carbon in it. That's what toner is. And then when it's melted and fused, it turns into, well, ink. It looks like ink anyway. So how we start this off with is there's a little shield here that protects the drum. So there's a little spring that we just move over. And then we take the end plate off, unscrew it, screws down in there, and this pops right off, and it separates the cartridge into the two units. This is the waste side of the cartridge. There's residual toner. After each print, there's always a residual toner that gets scraped off by one of the blade under here I showed you earlier, and it goes into a hopper. That we're going to take care of after. First, we're going to do the imaging side. So now we go to the other side, First I'm going to clean this off so it doesn't get too messy. I'm going to use the vac. Now we're going to take this plate off. Okay. Now this pops right out. Okay, just leave that on the side. Now I'll show you. These little spacers come off. Take that off. Now, like I mentioned earlier, one of the parts is a mag roller. That's this, and inside here is a magnet. It's a big magnet. I'm going to show you the magic here. See, it just sticks onto that. Now, when you pull this, I guess I could spin this around. When you pull this magnet out, the toner just falls right off. I'm going to throw that out. We're going to save the magnet. Okay, get you back in position here. Alright, so now we got the two parts separated. And we'll continue rebuilding this side. Alright, so now we're going to take off, let's sit on an angle here. I'm going to take off the other blade. This is the blade that distributes the toner. Two screws. Oop, just dropped it. Alright. There's another little spacer. There's two spacers on each end. Now this, it's got like a little glue on it, so you use a needle nose and just pop it off like that. Okay, so that's the old doctor blade. Customer first. Okay, so now we're going to clean the hopper out. I actually did it already. It's just a matter of vacuuming out this little trough that has all the residual toner in. I just did that so you don't have to hear the vacuum. Okay, so that's pretty much all cleaned out. Now we're going to recharge it with toner and then seal it up with the seal. So this is the pre-measured bottle of toner for this particular cartridge. This is an 80 CE285A. It's got 80 grams. That's the OEM amount, the original manufacturer amount that belongs in this toner. There's no guessing. We don't have a large vat of toner. People seem to think that, and they think that they're getting shortchanged half the time. It's all pre-measured, specific for this toner, for this particular cartridge. Toner is a little strange how it pours. Some of them pour like water. Some of them pour like ketchup. This one's somewhere in the middle. Just depends on how the print is built, the fuser in it, how it melts the toner. Just an example that this is the one that belongs in here. Now this is a larger printer, and it's got considerably more. It's 290 grams, but this printer is more than double the price, and you'll get probably well over double the amount of prints that it's set up for. So they're all specific to the cartridge, all the toners. Even though it's HP, black, it's made slightly differently. Okay, so now what we do is we give it a little shake. I'll show you what I mean as far as how it pours. You take the cap off, and we're going to use this cap to put a little tiny bit in there to print out a test print. There's a little seal on it. We're going to take that off. And we got a little cap that goes on there. So now basically you just run it up and down the trough. And this pours pretty good. Some of them take forever to pour out because you got to constantly shake it. This one is pretty easy to pour out. So I just want to put a little bit in this cap, just enough I'll show you what I do with it after. Let's put a little bit more. Alright, that's good. And now we'll put the rest in the trough. Okay. Just kind of distribute it around. Comes it out a little more. I like to bang it so you get it all out. Okay, and that's about it. Shake it. Okay. Now we get rid of the bottle, that's empty. Now I just want to get it off the edges here. I just use a screwdriver or this tool, this hook tool, and just get it all in there. Now it's important that I get this little surrounding edge clean, because I'm going to put this seal on the top, otherwise it'll start leaking. Alright, so I'm going to have to put this vacuum on again just to clean it a little bit. Then we get it real clean. We just use a couple of cotton swabs and some rubbing alcohol. It's rubbing alcohol in here. I use the dry side first to get the bulk of it off. It's not much on there, just a little bit. Then I use the wet side to get it nice. We use rubbing alcohol because it dries pretty immediately. Opposed to water, which is not a good idea. Okay, just get it, you know, pretty much all the way around. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to seal up that trough until it's ready to be used, and then those of you who have laser printers, you know you got to pull a pull tab. This is it. So there's two sides to this. There's a thin side, which just from knowing, you know, we figure these things out. That goes on the bottom. Right, so you just kind of fold it, slide it in, go all the way down. I don't know if you can see exactly what I'm doing. Push it down. Make sure it's under the little felt. There's a little felt tip there. Okay. And then you hold it and you pull out that bottom plastic, revealing like a sticky seal. I just make sure it's sitting right on there. Push it down, seal it. Okay, so that's how you seal it up. Now what you do is you take this tab and you just, it's perforated, and you just snap it. This thing has a tendency to curl up, so I just kind of uncurl it like that. Now you put this little holding piece in, keeps that plastic in place until you're ready to use it. Just push it in with your thumb. Voila, so now it's sealed so you don't get any leaking. Sometimes they don't seal right. Everyone's heard stories of cartridge leak. That's one of the reasons why it leaks. The seal wasn't adhering to the plastic. Okay. So now what we're doing, we're reversing the process. Now we're just going to put the new Dr. Blade on. There's two little pins. Just lay it on there. Put the spacers back on. One there. One here. And screw it down. It's two little screws. Not too tight. I just kind of let it spin on its own until it catches. That's it. That's down. Now we're going to put a new mag roller over the magnet. that over here. Let me grab it. Okay. Comes protected with paper so it doesn't get anything on it. Alright, so now this just slides in there. Now these two little spaces that we took off, we replaced them. Put them back on. And you lay the mag right where it was, and it just kind of spins in. Okay. Now that end cap we took off, there goes back on. Slide it through. Just turn it till it locks in. And then we pop the one screw on the end of the cap. Now because I want to test it in the printer when it's all done, and we know we already sealed the toner up, that's why we put a little toner in the cap. So now we're just going to, like you're putting salt or pepper on your food, just kind of tap it until it's coated. The mag roll is coated. There's magnetic properties in toner, obviously, because it sticks on there. So now you just spin that so it's totally coated, nice and black. Okay, so now we can test it. Alright, so that's the one half of the cartridge completed. Now, this is the waste side with the drum. That's the drum. That's spent, done. Probably, you could use these again, but we don't. And this is the primary charge roller. It's got some lines in it, it's no good. Okay, so that goes in the garbage. Okay, now this is the wiper blade. What that does, it wipes that blue drum off after each print and deposits the residual toner in behind here, which we're going to get to, and clean it out. So there's two screws for this. There's one. There's two. And this comes right out. Alright, we're not going to use that again, so we'll get rid of it. And there's that waste toner that I was talking about. So, some guys, people that try to fill their cartridges on their own, they just basically drill a hole and recharge with toner. The problem with that is, if you look at this, that thing is pretty full. And this cartridge, if you try to do that with 2 cycles of printing, it's going to overflow. And then people wonder why I have the toner get into my printer. It's a mess. Well, it's got to go somewhere. It'll find a crack, a seam, or something, and it comes out into your printer. So it's only designed to hold 1 cycle of toner. So now we're going to get rid of that. Just dump it. Alright, and I give it a quick vacuum. That's called a clean hopper now. That's done. Now we're going to reverse the process with this as well. Okay, so now we're going to rebuild the hopper side. So here's a new wiper blade. That lays right in there. Screw on each side. Okay, there's a new one of those rollers. Very important to keep these clean, otherwise you'll see a defect. That lays in. And here's the new drum. These are very sensitive to light. These stay in light too long, it damages them. So that's why it's covered in this black plastic. Just stick that on. Alright. Now, we got to put this plate back on just for a minute. I'm going to take it off again. And we use this this lubricant so the drum spins against the other roller. So you just put a little bit, less is more, and then you just kind of rub it in between there. If you don't do that, the drum won't turn properly. It'll make noise. And now you just spin this gear so it's running in unison with the other roller, the PCR roller. And you want to check that black PCR roller, that none of that white powder is on there, because if you get a dot of white powder, what's going to happen, you print something out, you're going to see a repeating dot, because it's covering the process. It's covering the drum unit with that little tiny dot, and that'll actually in some cases make a defective print. Alright, so that's all good, that's clean. Now I'm going to take this back off to reattach the two halves. Now simply you go gear to gear, lock it in, make sure it's all set, and now you put that cap back on. Okay, there you go. And this has one screw on the cap. Okay, now we're just about done. Now you put that little spring that I did earlier on there, and that's almost a completed cartridge. Now this is the little chip. Sometimes you'll get a cartridge, it's not recognizing, it's not reading right. That's the brains of the cartridge. That tells the printer that I'm a new cartridge, and allows it to print or not. So we got to change that. But first, we're going to do a test print, and then I'm going to pop that little chip out and put a new one in. I like to always try to get any residual toner with a paper towel and rubbing alcohol off the cartridge, because especially the handle, because you get one of those office managers, they get a little on their hands, especially the ladies, and you'll hear it. Oh, this thing blew up in my hand. Meanwhile, it's just a little residual toner on there, but I always make sure at least the handle's very clean. Alright, that's good. Alright, so now let me reset this. Okay, so now I'm going to test it in this printer. Make sure it's in, got paper. Gonna do its thing. Okay. Takes a second to load. Here we go. Take the gloves off, don't need them anymore. Voila. So you always check it. Make sure there's none of those dots or lines or whatever, and that's what you call a nice clean print. And now we'll change the chip on there so it reads that it's brand new, and we're good to go. Okay, so now final piece of the puzzle is we put in one of these little chips. We take one of these little, looks like an ice pick, these two little tabs that pop up. They usually break, but I got this one off and just lift it out, and that's garbage. Now we got a package of new ones here. We just need one. And there it is. There it is. And I just drop it in there. Okay, it's a little bit. Okay, and just gently push those tabs back down to keep it from falling out. that's the story. Relabel it, box it up. Now you know why cartridges are so expensive. A lot of work to do one. I don't do a lot of them. We have a company that does, we found 2 companies that do the same procedure as we do. And it's just too many out there to do every model cartridge on the market.